partner. Ito na si... tapos na yung kanilang photo op, no? Na magkasama sa isang room. And they're now proceeding probably dun sa, no? Dun sa departure honors.
Military honors na
for
igagawa
PRRD.
Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte.
And ayan yung sinasabi natin na barong partner. Yan ba yung dinisenyo ni Pipito Albert?
Yes.
Nasuot ni incoming President Marcos Jr. Ayan, ito rin yung papunta doon sa...
Dr. Resos, ito na po yung sinasabi nyo na kanina yung pag-akyat at ngayon ay pagbaba na ng dalawang Pangulo.
Opo, ayan po yung napakahalagang simbolismo po. Umakyat po kanina yung President-elect at ito naman po, bumababa po yung po incumbent President at bibigyan po ng full military honors, hindi Malacanang grounds. Titignan natin kung ganun pa rin po ang susundin sapagkat ang honors ng military na ito ay binibigay po sa incumbent President. Ito po yung pagkakalog sa kanya, mukha pong ganun nga po ang mangyayari. Yan.
Yung symbolismo nun, yung pagbaba sa pwesto ni Pangulong Duterte. Kasi bumaba na siya sa staircase, so yun na yung pag-alis niya sa Malacanang.
Correct. Minsan depende po yun sa ugnayan din po ng Pangulo at yung incoming po na Presidente. Siguro iba po yung situation kung ang nanalo po ay ang Vice President po na Pangulo. Baka hindi po ganun katagal yung usapan, kaya po ay hindi rin po ganun ka-intimate. Kasi alam naman natin, aliado po ang Pangulong Duterte po, President-elect BBM. Ayun na po, nagaganap na po yung ating pong military commerce ng gagawin.
Ito pong paggagawad po ng departure honors para po sa Pangulo ay ito po hindi lamang tradisyon talaga, tradisyon pero talagang nakikita natin sa bawat Pangulo.
Yes. Ginagawag talaga yung bawat Pangulo.
Mga pinunod kawal, baba, tak, handa, dala, kalis, baba, tak. Mahal na Pangulo, handa na po ang tanod paneral upang libutin. Tanghal. Tuloy po na. Tanghal. Tak. Baba. Tak. Handa. Gerak. Alis. Baba. Mahal na Pangulo, ako ang parangal. Mga kasama, pinapabot ng ating mahal na Pangulo, Pangulong Rodrigo Roa Duterte, Pangulo ng Republika ng Pilipinas, ang kanyang taos-pusong pasasalamat sa parangal na ating ginawa sa kanya. Sa umagang ito, baba, kalis.
Ilaw.
Makapatapos na ito eh.
Tulad po kanina nang sinasabi nyo, yung sa Malaya.
Yes.
An end to
An era. Yes.
Opo.
Kasi whether you like it or not, no, alam naman si Duterte, President Duterte can get elicit strong reactions from people. No? Whether you like it or not, yung imprint niya sa presidency, I don't think mawawala very, very soon. No? He made his mark. No? And with the many firsts he did, gaya ng sinabi ko kanina, the first president from Mindanao, the first president na hindi galing sa traditional na angkang politika sa ating bansa, from a small insignificant party before, PDP Laban, and then
First mayor.
first city mayor.
City mayor.
Oh, iniskipan niya, ang dami yung iniskipan niya, no? And then, yung sinasabi ng mga kritiko, the most unpresidential of all the presidents. So, kung ano naman yung kanyang damit, yung pagmumura niya, no? So, it's an end of an era, no? For the
At
country.
masasabi mong siya ang Pangulo na nagtapos ang termino na may pinakamataas na trust rating.
Yes. Alam mo doon kagabi sa Manila Polo Club, isang oras yata siya bago makalabas. Congressman, senador, lahat nagpapapicture sa kanya. So, hindi ko nakita ito sa mga nakaraang Pangulo. No? Hindi makagalaw yung mga PSG talaga. Nagpapapicture lahat ng tao sa kanya.
Yung popularity niya hanggang sa huling araw nasustain, no? Hanggang dun sa huling taon.
That's right. No? 75% approval
Yes,
rating.
kasi sa mga nakalipas na Pangulo, makikita mo yan habang natatapos yung term, sumasagsak
Yes.
yung kanilang ratings.
Yes,
No?
yes,
So,
yes.
napanatili niya yun.
Yes. Kung balikan natin yung ating kasaysayan, ang pinakamalapit para sa akin was Ramon Magsaysay. No? He elicits a strong reaction from the public. Pero ang problema lang kay Pangulong Magsaysay, namatay siya. Hindi niya natapos yung patang termino. No? So, somewhat akin itong ating Pangulo outgoing right now. Ang papalit namang Pangulo ay yan ang tradisyonal kasi anak ng dating Pangulo. Di ba?
Siya ang pangatlo
Pangatlo.
na anak na uupo sa Malacanang.
Yes, coming from a storied, strong political clan na kasama siya, na uma-attend din si Pangulong Bongbong sa mga inauguration ng kanyang tatay. From the first one hanggang sa pinakadulo. Yung 86 inaugural, yung magmamadali silang umalis sa Malacanang, no? So, this is, kung napakalaki ng pagkakaiba ang dalawa.
6 years.
What we're seeing yung full military honors para kay Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte. And titingnan natin kung sila'y sasakay ba sa iisang sasakyan. May mga pauna kasing report na hindi na rin sasama si Pangulong
Hindi na,
Duterte
oo.
sa National Museum.
Sa schedule partner, si Pangulong, sa incoming President Marcos Jr. ay mag-isang magtutungo sa National Museum, no? At si PRRD naman ay aalis sa Malacanang.
At meron pang yan, titignan natin kung magsasabay sila sa isang sasakyan. Kung sino yung nakaupo sa left side at sa right side. Parang may gano'n na sinusunod. Dr. Resos?
Resos kanina.
Opo. Yung pong President-elect, kung di ako nagkakamali sa likod po ng driver o ng chauffeur, at yun pong incumbent President po ay nandito po sa likuran on the right side area. Okay, so yun po yung tradition na sinusunod. Pero gaya nga po nang nakita natin na mukhang hindi na po yata sasakay na ang Pangulo.
Paalis na. So, si PRRD. Oo.
Si Pangulong BBM na lamang po ang pupunta sa National Museum po.
Okay. Yan po ang convoy ni PRRD. The outgoing President Rodrigo Roa Duterte leaving the Malacanang the Malacanang grounds at naiwan po si incoming President Marcos Jr. Ayan, nandiyan pa siya sa labas. So, nakatayo pa partner.
So parang iniwan na ni yung Malacanang, iniwan na ni Pangulo.
Inihabilin na.
Inihabilin na. Okay, sa'yo na to.
It's your turn.
It's your turn. Ako, uwi na. Umalis na siya.
Ayan po ang bakit nakuha pa rin ng RTBM sa convoy ng outgoing President Duterte and may escort sa partner. At nakikita natin yung ilang mga sasakyan na kasunod. No?
Sa oras po, eksakto na 10:48 ay lumabas po ng Malacanang ang convoy po ni Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte. At katulad ng sinabi niyo po ay ito ay pagpapakita. It's just part of the tradition na sana ideally magkasama silang pupunta sa National Museum. Pero dito kasi Dr. Resos ay nagawa na po no? Yung kanyang full military honor. So, hindi na rin naman kailangan pa na pumunta o sumama si Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte sa National Museum.
Tama po yun. Bagaman may mga nakita tayo sa kasaysayan, dalawa pong Pangulo magkatunggali, katulad po ni Pangulong Quirino at saka ni Pangulong Ramon Magsaysay na sila po yung nagsabay. At hindi naman po si Pangulong Garcia po, kasama din naman po si Pangulong Macapagal, sabay din po. And then si Pangulong Macapagal at si Pangulong Marcos, ganun din po ang nangyari. Ganun din po. Ngayon po na yung tradition na siguro po pinagkatiwala na po yung Malacanang and everything is in safe hands right now po. Kaya ganun po, hindi na po kailangan din ang presence po ng Pangulo na mamaya kunting oras na po yung magiging citizen digong na po siya. Hindi na po siya Pangulong Duterte at magkakaroon na po tayo. Ngunit hanggang sa ngayon po ay President-elect pa rin po si BBM hanggang hindi pa po siya nakakapanumpa officially.
Ang video po na ating natutunghayan ng courtesy of RTBM.
Yan yung kanilang eksena partner, no? Nakita sila
Sa may staircase.
sa may grand staircase kung saan inaabangan na siya si outgoing President Duterte. No? And ayan. Nasunod naman yung nasa schedule, but sa oras lamang nagkaroon ng konting delay, no? Dahil sa medyo late na pagdating yung incoming President Marcos.
Ang inaasahan na ng 10:35 ay aalis na or magtutungo na si incoming President Bongbong Marcos patungong National Museum. Considering makikita mo mga 20 minutes, we only have 20 minutes delay. And sigurado dito sa schedule na to ay meron yan talagang inilaan na palugin na sapat na oras for any delays. Pero pagdating po, pag-alis po ni incoming President Bongbong Marcos sa palasyo ay dadating na po siya or papatungo sa National Museum. Dito, ano na po ang maaasahan natin? Titignan din ba natin kung masusunod yung tradisyon na kakanta muna ng lupang hinirang, mangyayari dyan ang nagkakaroon ng military and civic parade.
Yes.
Ano po,
Yes.
hanggang pag malapit na yung tour noon. Kumbaga, pwedeng adjustable yung ibang mangyayari. Basta makasasakto yung alas 12 na.
Importante yung
Yeah,
Oo.
just a little over 1 hour to go. Oo.
Yes, Cheryl. Malapit lang naman yung Malacanang sa National Museum. Dadaan lang sila sa Ayala Bridge, no? Correct. And then, nandiyan na sila, no? And given na may mga escort naman ito, napakabilis lang ng biyahe. And yung civic military parade, that won't take long, no? Nag-rehearsal naman kahapon. Kaya matapos yan in 20 minutes. Yun lang yung medyo mahaba.
Sinasabi, 30 minutes daw po
30 minutes, yes.
ang mangyayari dito sa Civic and Military Parade dahil ang sinasabi po ay bahagi nito hindi lamang ang mga kapulisan, ang sundalo, may mga medical frontliners
Yes.
na bahagi,
Yes.
may OFWs at sa sektor din ng mga manggagawa. Bahagi sila sa magiging parade.
Yes, and very symbolic din daw yan. Kasi pinapakita dito kung ano yung mga importanteng segment ng ating society na bibigyan ng pansin ng paparating na administrasyon. Kaya pinasama sila dun sa civic portion. Pero doon naman sa military portion, nandiyan yung mga kasamahan natin sa DILG, yung Philippine National Police. So ilalabas natin yung mga bago natin nabili kagamitan. And sa military naman, yung mga bagong assets natin, mga armored vehicles, mga bago nating mga kanyon na nabili, no? Ipapakita natin siya ngayon. And of course, yung flyby ng ating mga bagong air assets from the Philippine Air Force.
At wala muna pong bibitiw mga kapatid, patuloy lamang po ang aming special coverage sa paglalakad ni President Bongbong Marcos Jr.
Hello, Washi! Noon din naman.
Anong meron?
Mancha ng chocolate, unik, may libag pa.
Kaya natin yan! With Pride Washing Machine Detergent, may triple stain-away formula. Tanggal ang copy. Madikit at malupit na tumit mancha. Kaya easy-easy ang labada.
Mula noon,
the wife of the president of the Philippines. She is given specific duties, but not specific duties totally related to the political aspect of governance. It's usually involved with the social welfare, cultural aspects, and of course, the defense of course of what's given by the President of the Philippines. Successfully also, the host, no, pag nagkaroon ng konting affairs dito sa palace, especially foreign guests.
Sorry
no?
to jump in. Professor, sorry to jump in, but because our other guest here in the studio has to leave in a moment. So I would like to ask you, because we were talking about first ladies, no? The history of first ladies, we were saying they're ceremonial, they're basically, they host a lot of parties for the incumbent. What do you think would be the role of the incoming First Lady, Liza Araneta Marcos? Will she be proactive?
Right, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, I think she's going to be the first lawyer, first lady. I mean, so, you know, no offense to other first ladies, but Liza Araneta brings a certain kind of gravitas, not to mention legal expertise, political expertise. We saw she played a very proactive role when Ferdinand Marcos Jr. was the governor in Ilocos Norte. So she was not just another, spouse. Or I don't think she's just going to be a kind of a passive kind of first lady. I think she's going to be very proactive. But remember, the Marcoses, we have many strong women there. There's Amy Marcos, who's the de facto spokesman of the family. I think a lot of interesting statements we hear about what what her brother is going to do, what the Marcoses want to do with their second chance. We heard from Manny Marcos, who by the way is also the Senator of the Republic, the head of the Foreign Affairs Committee. Then, of course, is the ultimate matriarch of the family, Imelda Marcos. She's going to be there, I think.
What kind of role do you think will she be playing
Well, more, I
in
think,
this administration over the next 6 years?
I think symbolically should be very, very important. I think just seeing her back on the veranda in the Malacanang after everything, she's going to be the ultimate representation of the vindication and the rehabilitation, the full rehabilitation of democracy. So I think that's going to be the role that she's going to play primarily. But remember, there are people like Enrile who are going to be in the cabinet.
8-year-old.
Yes, so I mean,
Would be
if
the
Enrile is
oldest
going to play
cabinet
that role, then maybe Mello would be much more active than just symbolic. So there will have many strong women characters there, right? So that's something that everyone keeps in mind. But so far, we have seen that Ferdinand Marcos Jr. has shown he's the boss in the sense that early in office, he made the decision on who's going to get the Department of National Defense. Everyone thought it's going to go to Sara Duterte. Speaker of the House, everyone thought that's going to go to former President Arroyo. It went to Martin Romualdez. So I think Marcos is also showing that he's going to be his own man. He's going to make his decision as much as he's going to be surrounded by powerful women with also strong views of themselves and politics in the country.
He's a man who will take charge and create his own history over the next 6 years. An own legacy. Thank you so much, political scientist and analyst Richard Haydarian, for your insights for your CNN Philippines special presentation. And of course, we would also like to thank our DLSU history professor Jose Victor Torres. We'll be right back. You're watching a CNN Philippines special presentation, The Oath, the presidential inauguration. I'm Rico Hizon. Stay with us.
So many questions about what is the federal government doing? Do you get the anger that is out here?
How concerned are you about the front line? You don't believe that there's a racial divide here. Looking back, as president, did you tell the story of race in America enough, do you think? All the places I've been in, all the things I've seen, all the people I've talked to, I carry with me. They're part of what I do right here, holding the powerful accountable, keeping them honest.
AC 360, Tuesday through Saturday only on CNN.
After an intense election campaign, Filipinos voting for a leader in the next 6 years.
On the part of the Senate, I proclaim Ferdinand Romualdez Marcos Jr. as the duly elected President of the Republic of the Philippines.
It's a complete turnaround. 36 years after a popular uprising toppled his father and namesake, the late dictator Ferdinand Marcos Sr. The first majority president in the post-EDSA era, gaining the favor of 31 million Filipinos with his message of unity. Today, he takes his oath as the 17th president of the Philippines.
I promise you that we may not be perfect, but we will always strive to perfection.
Taking on the enormous responsibility of addressing urgent economic challenges amid a global pandemic.
I ask you all, pray for me, wish me well. I want to do well, because when a president does well, the country does well, and I want to do well for this country.
This is a CNN Philippines special coverage. The Oath, the presidential inauguration. Hello everyone, good morning. It is 11 a.m. and you're watching a CNN Philippines special coverage of The Oath, the presidential inauguration. I'm Rico Hizon. History is unfolding today as Ferdinand Marcos Jr. takes his oath as the 17th president of the Republic. The Philippines is closely monitoring the inauguration of the country's 17th president. Our correspondents are in strategic locations to give us the latest in the run-up to this inauguration of Marcos Jr. Rex Renitio, David Santos, George Cahiles, and Fifi Dumatula are all at the National Museum. Again, that is the venue of the inauguration. Melissa Lopez is at the PICC in Pasay, which is a holding area for guests and VIPs of the ceremony. AC Nichols is in Malacanang, Lois Calderon is in Ilocos Norte, the home province of the Marcoses, while Tristan Nodalo is in Davao City, the home of outgoing President Rodrigo Duterte. Carly Bonquin is at the Liwasang Bonifacio, Angela Mario is at the Pantayog ng mga Bayani, and Tay Javier is at Plaza Miranda. Supporters of the Marcos Duterte tandem in Davao City and the Bangsamoro region are hopeful that the new administration will continue the programs that will spur development in the region. While they also look forward to the retirement of President Duterte, the first Mindanaoan president. Our Tristan Nodalo is joining us live now from Davao City. Tristan, when can we expect the outgoing president to be back in Davao City?
Because spending time with his family will be President Rodrigo Duterte's priority, according to his longtime ally and Senator Bongo. No clear plans yet on whether the president will be attending some of the homecoming events organized by his supporters in the city. But before that, let's take a look back at some of his very recent activities before he stepped down from office. He recently attended the PDP Laban Thanksgiving party in Makati City on Wednesday. He also met with foreign officials, including Chinese Vice President Wang Qishan and Japanese Foreign Minister Yoshimasa Hayashi. We spoke to some Davao residents, including some of his neighbors. They say that while Duterte's presidency was not perfect, his programs benefit not only Davaoenos but the entire country in the long run.
Namimiss namin noon, nung hindi pa siya presidente, kasabay namin siya pag New Year, may Christmas, doon sa subdivision. Nung naging presidente siya, medyo na-hectic na yung schedule niya. So sana ngayon, makaspend siya ng more time sa kanyang mga apo, sa family niya.
No big event so far on the inauguration of President-elect Bongbong Marcos here in Davao, but one of the largest volunteer groups supporting the Marcos Duterte tandem in the May 9 post expect continuity of Duterte's legacy under the new administration.
Of the Duterte administration, having Inday Sara as the vice president, in the macro level, in the whole country, yung war on drugs, kailangan ipagpatuloy niya. Pangalawa, yung build programs, and yung mga malasakit centers, the president, si President Bongbong Marcos Jr., ma-end niya yung Bangsamoro Peace Process. Kasi yung Bangsamoro Peace Process, time-bounded siya.
Tanggapin natin, may problema talaga sa education ba na nangyari sa COVID. So parang medyo nakakagulo yung sa face-to-face. Actually, maraming mga kabataan na hindi talaga nakapag-aral o nakastop. We expect na mas matutukan aspektong edukasyon, employment, tsaka the same time yung war on drugs talaga na tinutukan yun in fact ni PRRD. So sana mapapatuloy ni BBM ang programang yun.
Amid controversies and challenges, outgoing President Duterte has maintained high approval ratings from the public. His latest was at 73% according to Pulse Asia, and sources tell us that the President will be returning to Davao this afternoon. Back to you, Rico.
Tristan, any hints from the outgoing President or his allies on what he will be doing next?
Well, there are varying statements coming from his allies and even from President Duterte. Some say that he is considering teaching, while President Duterte initially said that he wants to pursue his advocacies like fighting illegal drugs and criminality. And even though President Duterte already stepped down from the presidency, the Duterte family is still in the political limelight. You have Vice President Sara Duterte, Congressman Paulo Duterte, and his son, the new mayor of Davao City, Sebastian Duterte. Back to you, Rico.
Joining us outside Davao City Hall. Thank you so much for that update on the outgoing President, Rodrigo Duterte.
In the morning, more roads in Manila will be closed today for President-elect Bongbong Marcos's inauguration. Ayala Boulevard and Victoria Street from Taft Avenue, as you can see on your screens right now, to Moralia Street are off limits to vehicles. That was since 4 a.m. It will remain closed until 11 p.m. Halandoni Street along PICC in Pasay City, meanwhile, and Legarda Street in Manila from San Rafael to Figueroa Street will be closed. That's starting at 1 p.m. So just 2 hours. Mendiola likewise remains closed to the public until later tonight at 11. Padre Burgos Avenue, Finance Road, Maria Orosa Street from T.M. Calao to P. Burgos, as well as General Luna Street have all been closed to the public since Sunday. It will remain off limits to motorists until 11 p.m. And that's that update on the roads. Rico?
Oh, thank you so much, Andre. A lot of streets are still closed, that's right. Most probably people should just be staying home around the Manila area.
You're right. But we'll get back to you later on some responses because what's trending online using hashtags, we see BBM also trending on online with netizens.
And earlier we were speaking with Professor Richard Tegdare, and he said he's also looking forward to the memes, the comments of what people will say on social media regarding this inauguration.
Thank you, Rico.
All right, we're awaiting the oath-taking ceremony and the inauguration of our 17th President of the Republic, Bongbong Marcos, who had the largest lead over his closest rival among all presidential election winners since the 1986 People Power Revolution. Rex Remito tells us the keys to Marcos's historic victory.
I am today announcing my intention to run for the presidency of the Philippines in the upcoming May 2022 elections.
Nananalo talaga tayo basta't walang tulugan sa Lunes!
It was touch and go for Bongbong Marcos with only a month before the filing of Certificate of Candidacy for the 2022 elections. This could have been an offshoot of his second or third rankings in pre-election surveys for president. But months later, Filipinos gave Marcos a historic victory, the highest number of votes for a presidential candidate. What could be the factors behind this unprecedented election result? Political science professor Froilan Calilong says the Bongbong Marcos-Sara Duterte alliance was a powerful ticket. Except for two provinces, Marcos won in all provinces in Mindanao thanks to the solid mass support for the Dutertes. Calilong also points out the tandem's central and simple message that resonated to voters: unity. Marcos was consistent on this messaging in his campaign.
There were very, very few mention of the exact agenda or the exact platforms that we intend to do. So again, we go back to the idea of unity, and unity.
Calilong also credits the resurfacing of some Marcos loyalists and the extensive use of social media, a platform that was effective for Marcos to regain ground after he lost the vice presidency in 2016. But Marcos has repeatedly denied using troll armies for his advantage and to attack critics. Tapping the power of social media, Marcos has so far uploaded over 200 vlogs on Facebook about his political and personal life.
Hip-hop or rock?
House.
No, let's start here. You have to choose hip-hop or rock?
House.
Sigas ng ulo nitong batang ito.
Calilong explains these vlogs have given Marcos an edge on positive public perception. It's an effective strategy to counter criticisms from rivals and different groups against the Marcos family and the deposed regime of the late Ferdinand Marcos. Calilong says supporters of other candidates did not appreciate the role of social media in the campaign.
Because if it actually was effective, then it could have translated into an upswing in the numbers of VP Robredo.
Calilong says the calculated response of Marcos to controversies during the campaign period also helped his candidacy. And as it turned out, his absence in most presidential debates did not impact his bid to become the 17th president of the Philippines. Rex Remigio, CNN Philippines.
Let's check the situation right now in Ilocos Norte, the home turf of the Marcoses. Our senior correspondent, Lois Cabron, joins us now live from Bata. Thank you so much for joining us, Lois. What can you tell us about the reactions of Ilocanos there now that they will have the 17th president of the country?
Rico, Ilocos has been known as Marcos country for half a century now. The Marcoses ruled the region from governor to congressman to mayor, etc. And now as the highest leader of the land. But on this historic day, Bata, the hometown of the Marcoses, is quiet. True to form, Ilocos chose to celebrate this simply, to make the celebration simply. In the background, you'll see the Inauguration Cultural Center, one of the landmarks of the town center, where the City Hall staff set up two huge LED screens so that together barangay officials, City Hall employees, and passers-by could catch or could watch the inauguration ceremony that's unfolding in Manila. We talked to one of the organizers here.
Ito po ma'am, may lagol po tayo sa loob at sa labas po, dalawa po.
Nag-echo. We visited the provincial capital in Lawan City, where talks with the face of President-elect Bongbong Marcos and congratulatory messages are hanging prominently on the Capitol building and other government offices. The staff in Lawan provincial capital confirmed that top officials from governor to mayor will be at the National Museum and later at the Malacanang Palace to take part in this historic event. Meanwhile, the program sent to journalists yesterday said Ilocos congressman and first son Ferdinand Alexander Marcos, better known as Sandro, will have his oath taking at 4:05 p.m. at the reception hall of Malacanang. It will be followed by a mass oath-taking ceremony of local government officials of Ilocos Norte and Ilocos Sur. Ika?
So Lois, there will also be a public viewing at the Batak Town Center. What did supporters say, and do we expect any protest rallies there?
Marcos landslide victory has been inspiring people or supporters to come and visit Ilocandia. Yesterday in Vigan, we met this family who traveled all the way from Davao to visit Ilocos in time for the inauguration. She's a political science graduate and a supporter of the BBM Sara Duterte tandem. In Vigan, business is brisk, with one popular restaurant owned by the political family of Singson also preparing to host VIPs today. The restaurant manager has been working there for 2 decades and has met the Marcos family several times. We asked her what food BBM often orders. Let's listen in. Pakigandang ganisa po natin. Rico, the police say that 50 personnel have been deployed to secure Batak, the landmarks here, especially Marcos Museum, following reports that there might be vandals creating some noise in protest of Marcos' victory. Both the police from Nawag and Batak say there have been no applications for permits to hold protest rally. Rico, back to you.
Lois, I'm also very curious. No? I mean, of course, Ilocos Norte is a Marcos country, and of course, they had a sweeping victory during the May 9th elections. When do they expect their presidential son to return to Batak and celebrate with all Ilocanos?
Okay, that's also the same question. When we talk to Congressman Sandro Marcos or Ferdinand Alexander Marcos following his proclamation shortly after the May 9th victory, we asked him, where do you plan to stay? As a first son in Malacanang or as congressman, you stay here in Lawag as, to see what's happening on the ground. And back then, Sandro said that he will have to discuss that, but definitely his primary mandate will be to be in Congress to prioritize bills because he has bills prepared, especially for Ilocos. And he said that he wanted to focus on infrastructure and agriculture. Pico?
Senior correspondent Lois Calderon joining us from Batak in Ilocos Norte. Thank you so much for that update. You're watching a CNN Philippines special coverage, The Oath, the presidential inauguration. We'll be right back for more. Stay with us.
Mission accomplished. Orgilas Filipinas claimed their first win in the FIBA Asian Cup.
Filipino pole vaulter EJ Vena just wrapped up a series of indoor pole vault competitions.
A1 Heroes Welcome greeted a new breed of Filipino world champions.
Pagtanganan is getting the inaugural Miss Golf Award. The BBM has announced it is considering creating a bubble for the resumption of its 45th season.
Tuloy-tuloy ang balita.
Weekend.
Sabado at Linggo. Kaya narito kami para ihatid ang pinakamainit
Paano lang po katagal yung travel time from Malacanang to National Museum? Kung tatansyahin po natin, ganyang walang sasakyan po sa dadaanan ng convoy ni incoming President Bongbong Marcos.
Sa tingin ko, kaya mo ng 10 minutes yan.
Okay.
Yeah, kasi ang bilis lang yan eh. From Malacanang, mag-Aayala Bridge ka lang eh. And then, doon na yan sa may part ng Philippine Normal University. And then that's it.
At yan pong dadaanan, kasi bahagi po kayo nitong security planning, ay gaano ka tedious, yung talagang paano nyo pinlano, kasi hindi lamang naman yan, okay, dahil sarado sa mga kalsada, safe na, diba? Hindi lang doon natatapos yung pag-clear lang ng daan eh. Yung nasa paligid din kung gaano ka safe for the incoming president na makadaan dito po sa rutang ito.
Isang buwan kami naghanda dito, Cheryl, no? Na itong preparasyon natin for the inauguration. And hindi lamang yung 15,000 PNP officers natin, augmented pa ng Armed Forces of the Philippines. So, hindi lang dyan sa paligid ng National Museum. Kapasok pa lang ng Maynila, may mga checkpoints na tayo na nakatalaga. Kasi nga, we receive intelligence reports na may mga posibleng pamanggulo, no? So, kumbaga, kahapon na, nakiusap na ako sa ating mga kasamahan sa mga kaliwang grupo na igalang nila yung naging desisyon ng ating taong bayan. At huwag nila nang guluhin. Kasi ang gusto natin is peaceful and orderly transition of power from the outgoing to the incoming president. Freedom Park ang liwasan Bonifacio. So ang sabi namin sa kanila, una yung pagpilit na tumulak pa papunta sa National Museum, considering na 1 kilometro lang yung layo ng dalawang lugar na yan. And mukha namang we're on the right track. Kahapon nagsabi si Bayan Secretary General Renato Reyes na wala daw silang plano na guluhin ng inaugurasyon. But of course, we cannot be complacent. Kaya lahat ng contingencies pinaghandaan natin.
And speaking of contingencies, lahat talagang cleared itong dadaanan, no? Ni incoming President Marcos Jr. and ang kanyang convoy. And heavily guarded.
Ayala Bridge.
Yes. Nakatulong din yung ginawa ni Mayor Isko Moreno, no? Outgoing Mayor Isko Moreno na i-declare na holiday ang Manila for today's inaugural of the President-elect.
And although malinis at cleared yung kanyang dadaanan, it's a very slow-moving convoy, no? Going to the venue. And kanina, partner, may nakita ako mga kumakaway na mga tao na malapit dun sa gate na Malacanang paglabas ng kanyang convoy.
May mga, rin pala, may mga areas, hindi naman 100% na cleared or hindi makikita. At pagdating po sa convoy, okay, ang first family hindi kasama. ni incoming President Bongbong Marcos. Paano po ba ang siste dyan, Professor Resos, dating sa pagsakay sa sasakyan, sa convoy, sino na uuna, ilang sasakyan yan, may ganun bang nasusunod din? Would we know?
I'm not a military expert to know kasi kailangan lang dyan security vantage point dyan saan ilalagay po yung ating military convoy, yung mga pulis po. Pero I think ang first family po yung pinag-uuna na nakita natin kanina po ang First Lady Imelda Marcos naroon na po. At ganun po sapagkat ang sentro po talaga ng inaugurasyon na ito ay ang Pangulo. We have to protect the President-elect at all costs. Ibig sabihin po, pag may nangyaring hindi maganda dyan, it's also reflective sa ating pong seguridad. Kaya po ang kapulisan po ay nagbabantay and we would like to commend our policemen na napakaganda ng flow ng traffic po, maayos, malinis, at on time, kaala natin matitili, tamang-tama lang po. 10 minutes or also siya, nakakatupad po sila roon. Then also yung ating pong convoy na yan, nandiyan po yung maaari po, pero nandiyan din po yung ibang mga mahalagang na nag-a-assist po sa ating Pangulo. Nakita ninyo kanina po, instead of the executive secretary on the side of the president, nandun ang Senator Bong po, kasama naman po si incoming executive secretary Vic Rodriguez na palagi nakikita natin nag-assist po sa ating pong president-elect BBM. Kasi yung dadaanan ko na yan, it has to be ensured na maayos, wala pong anuman pong matiskalil dyan o kaya mga plano po. And we have trust and confidence po sa sandatahan ng lakas ng Pilipinas, kasama po ang mga masisigas, nating mga kapulisan po sa ilalim ng DILG po na very smooth po, maayos at wala po akong masabi sapagkat we are just perfectly on time po na makakarating ang convoy ng ating po President-elect. Ayun.
Okay, at this point, huwag mo muna kami iwanan, Professor Resos. Patuloy po namin kayo makakasama, but because of prior commitment, kaya iiwanan muna tayo ni Seth Malaya. Pero siguro po konting words, ano po ang...
Well, una-una, Cheryl J, thank you for having me in your show, no? Kanina kasi you mentioned yung aking book, no?
Yes.
Yung first edition was entitled So Help Us God. But the second edition, kasi every time yung president comes in, we just kakapalat ito hanggang bumuto. Habang nabubuhay kami ng kapatid kong si Ambassador Malaya. So, the new title is Keywords of the Universe. So, yan, ano ba? Ipaplan ko na sa show mo, ha?
Ano ba natin yan, bookstore po ba?
Yes.
Kasi ako nakita ko sa Amazon eh.
Yes, sa National Bookstore, sa Polybooks, sa Power Books, sa lahat ng bookstores po. Pero, sa panahon ngayon, nasa Shopee ito, nasa Lazada, so people can just, if they're interested about the history, hindi lang po about the inauguration, it's about the president, the president himself, ang buhay ng Pangulo.
So, ang title ng book, kahawak na makita natin, Stewards of the Nation. Ayan po, mga kapatid ko na yan. At ito, thank you, Yusef.
Maraming salamat, Jay. Maraming salamat, Cheryl. And nabutak sa ating bansa.
Maraming salamat, Yusek Malaya.
Ano po, mga kapatid, at nakarating na po sa National Museum ang convoy po ni incoming President Bongbong Marcos.
Aerial shot ng National Museum. Ayan, kasama ang portions of mismo ng National Museum, kung nasaan yung mga supporters and the VIPs. Ayan, kasama pala ang may bahay, ang bagong First Lady partner si Lisa, kasama pala ni incoming President Marcos Jr. sa kanyang sasakyan. At sabay silang lumisan dito sa Malacanang patungo dito sa venue kung saan gaganatin itong inauguration rites. Ayan po, si incoming President Marcos kumakaway sa kanyang mga supporters at doon sa mga VIP na dumalo na naghihintay sa kanyang pagdating dyan sa National Museum.
Kasama po si First Incoming. Incoming din ba yung
Incoming First Lady, ang bagong First Lady usually.
Ang bagong First Lady
Kung paano
na si
natin
Attorney Liza Araneta Marcos. May mga pagkakataon kasi na partner na ang sinasabi nasa separate na sasakyan ang incoming president. But marahil dahil hindi kasama yung outgoing president, ay ang kasama niya sa sinakyan na convoy mula Malacanang patungo National Museum ay ang kanyang First Lady. Kasi First Lady, Attorney Liza Araneta Marcos, kasama nilang umakyat sa stage ang kanilang tatlong anak.
And ayan, mukhang naghahanda na sila sa pagsisimula ng inauguration rites.
It's 11:28, 32 minutes before 12 noon.
At this point, partner, meron tayong makakasama. Oo. Makakasama naman po natin sa puntong ito ang political analyst at kolumnista na si Richard K. Darian. Sir, welcome.
Salamat. Good to see you.
Good to see you. Siya rin po ang nagtuturo ng political science sa Polytechnic University of the Philippines at may akda ng ilang libro gaya ng The Rise of Duterte, a Populist Revolt Against Elite Democracy. Puro authors ang ating kasama dito ngayon. And kasama pa rin po si Dr. Archie Resnos.
Sa dagat at puntot, sa simoy at sa langit mong lakaw, may dilag ang tula at awit sa paglayang minamahal. Ang kislap ng watawat ko'y tagumpay na nagniningin. Ang bituin at araw niya bilang pamangin ang dinilim. Lupa ng araw ng walhating pagsinta, umayalagin sa piling mo. Aming ligaya na tanay malaki, ang mamatay lang dahil sa'yo.
Please remain standing for the ecumenical prayer.
Panganay si Sandro, ang liit.
Kindly
Ang
bow
laki,
your
oh.
heads in prayer. Sa ngalan ng Ama at ng Anak at ng Espiritu Santo. Amen. O Diyos naming maawain at mapagmahal, kami ay nagpapasalamat sa araw na ito na inyong nilikha.
Sino yun?
Puspos ng biyaya para sa mundo
Padre.
at mga Pilipino, kung saan aming tinatanggap ang aming bagong Pangulo. Nawa ang araw na ito ay maghatid ng pagkakataon upang maging ganap ang aming hinahangad na pagkakaisa, kaunlaran at kapayapaan. Maging hudyat naman ito ng tunay na pagbabago, paglilingkod at pag-asa. Sa ngalan ni Kristo naming Panginoon, kasama ng Espiritu Santo. Amen.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Qala rabbukum ud'uni astajib lakum. Ya Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful, please fill our mind and soul with good health and wellness forever. Bless us and our future leader, Ferdinand Romualdez Marcos Jr., a good health and spirit of wisdom so that he may serve his countrymen. We pray that our nation be crowned with compassion and nurtured by your love. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار وادخلنا في الجنة مع الأبرار يا عزيز يا غفار يا رب العالمين. Panginoon po namin Diyos, banal ka po, makapangyarihan sa lahat. Pakitanggap po ang aming tao sa pusong pasasalamat sapagkat taglay pa namin lahat ngayon ang aming buhay at ang aming lakas. Sasaksihan po namin ang panunumpa ng bagong Pangulo ng aming Republika. Nagmamakaawa kaming lahat na tulungan mo po ang aming Pangulo, maging lahat ng mga nangunguna sa aming pamahalaan, maipatupad ng pantay-pantay lahat ng mga batas, tungo po sa pag-unlad ng aming lipunan. Hinihiling po namin, maghari sa amin ang iyong katwiran, sa ngalan po, Ama, ng aming Panginoong Hesukristo. Amen.
Mapagpala po namin Diyos. Binabalik po namin ang papuri at pasalamat sa inyong saganang biyaya na sa kabila ng mga krisis, pandemya, kami po ay patuloy na tumitingin na kami po ay merong bagong lipunan na kung saan ang bawat sa amin ay magkakaisa upang kami po ay umunlad. Panginoon, hindi pong puspusin ng biyaya ang aming bagong Pangulo. 10 po ng kanyang buong sambahayan at pamilya. Gayon din po ang lahat ng mga gabinete, ang kanyang administrasyon. At salamat po na kami ay walang dapat ipangamba sapagkat kayo po'y nangako na kayo po ang sa amin. Ito po ang aming pakiusap sa pangalan po ng aming Panginoong Yesus. Amen.
Salamat po, Ama, sa pag-ibig na pinupuno niyo sa puso ng bawat Pilipino. Pag-ibig na maaaring sandalan, gawing pundasyon at balangkas ng aming pagkakaisa. Patuloy niyo po kaming pag-umapawi ng pag-ibig sa bayan, sa inyo at sa aming kapwa. Sa pangalan ng Panginoong Yesus. Aming Amang manlilikha at nagpapatuloy nagkakaisa po kami ngayon na nagtatalaga sa inyong hinihirap na maging Pangulo at lingkod ng bayan, si Ginoong Ferdinand Bongbong Romualdez Marcos Jr. Sa kanyang pamumuno at pamamahala, liwanag ang inyong maningit na ilaw, kasihan at puspusin ng inyong banal na diwa, labanan ng inyong mapagpalang kamay, pangunahan ng akali ng inyong makatwirang ginig, at patuloy na pagkalooban ng nag-uumapaw na pag-ibig at pagmamalasakit sa sambayanang Pilipinas. Bigyan niyo po sila ng mga makakatuwang sa pamamahala, may busilat na kalooban, mga manunungkulang maalam, mabunga at marublob ang pagmamahal sa bayan. Kami pong lahat na mamamayan ay patuloy ninyong gabayan na maging matapat sa aming mga tungkulin sa bayan para sa isang maunlad at nagkakaisang Pilipinas. Sa maiksing sandali po ng tahimik na pakikipagniig sa ating Ama sa Langit, ipabatid natin ang ating mga niloloob at pasalamat.
Please be seated. Welcome to the inaugural ceremony of President-elect Ferdinand Romualdez Marcos Jr. To begin, let us now witness and give a big round of applause to the military and civic parade.
Sa makasaysayang araw na ito, ating binibigyang pugay ang bagong Pangulo ng Republika ng Pilipinas, Pangulong Ferdinand Romualdez Marcos Jr. Kung kaya't narito po ang isang parada bilang pagpaparangal. Atin na pong tunghayan ng mga tagapangalaga ng bansa, naglilingkod sa iba't ibang larangan, isinasanggalang ang bansa sa anumang pagbabanta. Sila na nagtataglay ng katapangan at kakitingan, patuloy na nakikipaglaban para sa kapayapaan at kalayaan na ating tinatamasa. na kinabibilangan ng ating core ng mga kadete ng Sandatahang Lakas at Pambansang Pulisya ng Pilipinas, gayon din po ang Tanod Baybayin. Inyo pong nasaksihan ang high-speed opener pass o ang mabilisang paglipad ng FA-50PH o ang tinaguriang Fighting Eagle. Ito ang pangunahing air asset na ginamit sa pagsasagawa ng combat air operation sa Marawi City laban sa ISIS-inspired terrorists. Naipamalas na ng FA-50PH, Agila ng Pilipinas, ang pagiging most lethal weapon system dahil sa iba't ibang katangian nito na ginagampanan sa pagdepensa at pag-atake sa impapawid ng Philippine Air Force. Ang FA-50PH bilang air asset ay pinangangasiwaan ng ating 5th Fighter Wing, the home of the country's frontline fighters and jet trainers. Nangunguna po sa ating parada ang pinagsamang banda ng Sandatahang Lakas ng Pilipinas. Dumaraan po sa ating harapan ang commander ng tropa, Major General Jonas R. Lumawag, Philippine Navy Marines. Ang unang brigada sa kasuotang gala ay nasa pamumuno ni Brigadier General Alvin T. Flores, Army. Ang unang batalyon ay binubuo ng core ng mga kadete ng Sandatahang Lakas ng Pilipinas na pinangungunahan ni Cadet First Class Edmond D. Logroño. Mula sa prestiyosong Philippine Military Academy, ang mga ginoo at binibining ito ang mamamahala sa iba't ibang sangay ng Sandatahang Lakas. Ikinikintahan sa kanilang puso't isipan ng kagitingan, integridad at katapatan. Sinana sa hinaharap ang magiging kaagapay sa pagsusulong ng kapayapaan at kaunlaran ng bansa. Sumusunod ang patalyo ng mga kadete mula sa kilalang Philippine National Police Academy sa pangunguna ni Cadet 2nd Class Joshua R. Pulido. Pinuhubog ang karakter ng mga kadete ito upang mamuno sa hinarap ng nananaig ang paglilingkod, karangalan at hustisya, gayon din bilang makadyos, responsable at respetadong mga public safety officers. Mangyaring tumayo po ang lahat para sa pagdating ng watawat ng Pilipinas. Mangyaring magsalita na ang lahat. Ating natutungayan ang mga sagisag mula sa Sandatahang Lakas, Pambansang Pulisya at sa Tanod Baybayin ng Pilipinas. Ang pangalawang brigada sa kanilang kasuotang battle dress attire ay pinamumunuan ni Brigadier General Joanis Leonardi B. Maano ng Air Force. Sumusunod ang batalyon ng Special Operations Forces ng Sandatahang Lakas sa pamumuno ni Commander Ray R.G. Habonete ng Navy. Binubuo ang batalyon ng Scout Ranger Special Forces ng Philippine Army, Naval Special Operations Group ng Philippine Navy at 7th Special Operations Wing ng Philippine Air Force. Silang mga piling individual na ang kasanayan ay sa iba't ibang larangan at nakakaangat lalo na sa mga espesyal na operasyon. Narito naman ang mga batalyon na binubuo ng kapulisan at baybayin na pinamumunuan ni Police Lieutenant Colonel Joseph Zambala. Ang ating kapulisan ay nakapagpatupad ng batas na papanatili ng kapayapaan ng kalusan at nagsisiguro sa kaligtasan ng ating mamamayan. Ang Tanod Baybayin ay nakatuon sa Maritime Search and Rescue, Maritime Law Enforcement, Maritime Safety, Marine Environmental Protection, at Maritime Security. Kung archaeological nuclear caves. Sumusunod naman po ang Kia Light Tactical Vehicle at Troop Carrying Vehicle. Narito din po ang labing-isang Metro Rigid Hull Inflatable Boat that they call Special Operations ng Philippine Navy. Ginagamit ito sa mga espesyal na operasyon bilang suporta sa Maritime SEAL Operation. Ang pinaguyang combat arm o position ng Armored Assets, namumuna ang Commando B-150 na pangunahing nagadisenyo para sa panloob na operasyong panseguridad ng bansa. Kasabay ang Zebra Armored Fighting Vehicle ng Philippine Army na gumagana para sa panloob ng seguridad. Lagyan din po ang V-300 Armored Personal Carrier ng Philippine Marine Corps, sa uri ng sasakyan na magagamit sa lupa o sulit man. Natutunayan naman po natin ang artillery assets na binubuo ng mga kanonan sa tahang lakas ng Pilipinas. Namumuna ang 20mm M39 anti-aircraft cannons at iniakma ito bilang ground-based weapons mula sa dating F-5 Freedom Fighters aircraft. Sumusunod ang Atmos 155mm howitzer system na binuo bilang shoot-and-scoot weapon at ang re-responde sa mahirap na kalupaan at kritikal na lugar. Kontrolado ito ng electronic suit na may inertial navigation system based on laying method at automatic loader. Nasa ating harapan ang 105mm howitzers. Sumusuporta ang mga ito sa mga pwersang nasa gitna ng operasyong militar. Ang gamit pandigmang ito ay nagbibigay ng close fire support. Inyo naman po nakikita ang 8-ton Euro trucks at 1-1/4-ton Sadco. Ang mga sasakyan ito ay ginagamit bilang bahagi ng combat support units. Ganun din sa panahon ng kabitikan partikular sa humanitarian assistance and disaster response. Mga espesyal na sasakyang naglalaman naman ng mga gamit pang komunikasyon at sistemang pang-impormasyon na may kakayahan upang maisakatuparan ang ugnayan sa pamamagitan ng radio communication sa iba't ibang frequency bands. Ang mga sasakyan naman po at kagamitan ng ating pambansang komisyon ng Pilipinas sa panat baybayin ng Pilipinas na pawang ginagamit sa iba't ibang larangan, seguridad at maging sa kampanya laban sa terorismo at humanitarian assistance and disaster response. Pinangungunahan ito ng PNP Highway Patrol na tinaguriang Guardian of the Highways na nakatuon sa operasyon sa lansangan para sa traffic safety at maging sa paglaban sa krimen. Lagyan po ang mga sasakyan ng NCRPO, ang forensic group scene of the crime operatives, ang chemical, biological, radiological, nuclear, and explosives, at ang pinagsanib na explosive ordnance at K9 mobile vehicle van. Natutunan natin ang SWAT van, Special Action Force, na bilang ang multi-purpose armored vehicle personnel carrier at MG Robert Bush. Mula naman sa tanod baybayin, nariyan ang bomb squad, ambulance at mga patrol cars. Nariyan po ang kanilang jet ski para naman sa agarang makatugon sa seguridad ng search and rescue operation. Ang aluminum search and rescue boats na nakadisenyo upang mabilisang makaresponde ang rescue team sa nalunod o biktima ng sakuna sa karagatan. Samantalang ang regional home boat ay ginagamit sa iba't ibang misyon isinasagawa ng Coast Guard Anti-Terrorist Unit. Ngayon po, ibalik ang inyong atensyon sa kalangitan at pagkukuha ng pagdaan ng mga sasakyang pangipapawid ng Santahang Lakas ng Pilipinas. Inyo pong nakikita ang apat na 829 Super Tucano. Sumusunod ang pong SF-260 Marchetti, nakadisenyo para sa basic at intermediate training at nagsisilbing dependable attack aircraft para sa close air support. Nariyan din ang 4 na Cessna aircraft at ang panghuli sa hanay ng mga sasakyang panghimpapawid, ang siyang na T-41 trainer aircraft. Ang tinatawag na trainer aircraft ay ginagamit sa basic pilot training ng Air and Education Command ng Philippine Air Force. Mga kababayan, atin pong natunghayan ang ating sandatahang lakas, ang pambansang pulisya at ang tanong baybayin ng Pilipinas na maaasahan mapaanumang larangan saan man at kailanman. Sila ang ating mga kaagapay upang mapanatili ang kaayusan, katiwasayan at kapayapaan sa buong bansa para sa masaganang kinabukasan ng ating bayang Pilipinas.
Mula naman sa iba't ibang sektor ng ating lipunan. Ang ating mga bayaning katuwang sa lalong pagpapaganda at pagpapaunlad ng ating bansa. Ang ating mga medical frontliners. Sa panahon sigilin ng pandemya, ang mga bayaning nagniningning ng pinakamaliwanag. Sila ang ating mga medical at healthcare frontliners. Nanganganib sa bawat araw upang masigurong ligtas at protektado ang bawat pamilyang Pilipino. Ang ating mga overseas Filipino workers. Sa ibayong lupa man o karagatan. Ang manggagawang Pilipino ay tinitingala ng ibang bayan. Dahil sa kanilang husay, galing, at pagmamahal sa trabaho. Karangal-rangal ang kanilang mga sakripisyo. Malayo sa kanilang mga mahal sa buhay. Kapalit ng kanilang di matatawarang kontribusyon sa ating ekonomiya. Mga atletang Pinoy. Sa larangan ng palakasan. Walang tatalo sa puso ng atletang Pinoy. Ikot pawis at sakripisyo mula pagkabata. Upang makamtan ang medalyang hinahangad. Ang karangalang inyong dala para sa bansa. Sa bawat labang buhay ang inyong itinataya ay kabayanihang ating kinikilala. Ang manggagawang Pilipino. Kinikilala bilang haligi ng ating pag-unlad bilang isang bansa. Ang kanilang pagtutulogi at pagsisikap maitaguyod ang pamilyang Pilipino sa kabila ng anumang bagay ay ating bigyang dangal. Anumang industriya o antas ng panunungkulan, ang bawat manggagawang Pilipino ay bahagi ng pagbabago. Ang ating transport sector, panlupa, pantubig, o panghimpapawid. Ang ating ligtas na paglalakbay ay hatid ng ating transport sector. Mula sa mga tsuper, piloto, at flight attendants, o mga seafarers, at kapitan ng barko. Ang kanilang husay at galing ay katuwang natin sa paglalakbay tungo sa maunlad na bukas. Isang pagpupugay sa ating mga magsasaka at mangingisda. Kinikilala natin ang huwarang kontribusyon ng ating mga bayani sa pagpapaunlad ng sektor ng agrikultura. Ang ating likas na yamang lupa at karagatan. Kasama ang mga makabagong teknolohiya. Isang masaganang kinabukasan para sa agrikultura at matibay na seguridad sa pagkain ang naghihintay sa atin. Ang ating Street Management Services Sector. Malinis, ligtas, at maayos na mga kali at lansangan. Hatid ng ating mga kababayan sa serbisyo. Sinisigurong malinis ang ating kapaligiran. Maginhawa ang daloy ng trapiko. At ligtas ang ating publiko sa daan. Saludo po sa inyo. Ang ating construction to read the joint resolution from the Senate and House of Representatives. Senate President Vicente Tito Soto III.
As the Senate President and co-chair of the joint public session of Congress, who have canvassed the votes for presidential and vice presidential candidates in the national elections held on the 9th of May
2022. It is my distinct honor and privilege to join you in this historic occasion and read the dispositive portion of the resolution of both houses, which proclaim the duly elected President and Vice President of the Republic of the Philippines. The dispositive portion of the said resolution reads as follows. Resolved further to declare that candidate Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Romualdez Marcos Jr. and candidate Sara Zimmerman Duterte received the highest number of votes cast for President and Vice President respectively in the national elections held on the 9th of May 2022, and by virtue thereof to proclaim Ferdinand Bongbong Romualdez Marcos Jr. as the duly elected President of the Republic of the Philippines, and Sara Zimmerman Duterte as the duly elected Vice President of the Republic of the Philippines. To administer the oath of office to President-elect Ferdinand Romualdez Marcos Jr., Chief Justice Alexander G. Gasmundo. May we request on stage Attorney Liza Araneta Marcos, Ferdinand Alexander Sandro Marcos, Joseph Simon Marcos, and William Vincent Marcos to witness the oath taking.
Mangyaring taas ang kanang kamay at witain ang mga sumusunod. Ako, si Ferdinand Romualdez Marcos Jr.
Si Ferdinand Romualdez Marcos Jr.
ay mataimtim na nanunumpa. Natutuparin ko ng buong katapatan at sigasig.
Natutuparin ko ng buong katapatan at sigasig
ang aking mga tungkulin. Bilang Pangulo ng Pilipinas. Pangangalagaan at ipagtatanggol ang kanyang konstitusyon. Ipatutupad ang mga batas nito. Magiging makatarungan sa bawat tao. At itatalaga ang aking sarili. Sa paglilingkod sa bansa. Kasi nanawa ako ng Diyos. Congratulations, Mr. President.
and gentlemen, the President of the Republic of the Philippines, President Ferdinand Romualdez Marcos Jr.
His Excellency David Hurley, Governor General of Australia, and First Lady Linda Hurley, Their Excellencies, Special Envoys, and Heads of Delegations, His Excellency, Most Reverend Charles John Brown, and the esteemed members of the Diplomatic Corps, Vice President Sara Duterte, President Fidel Ramos, President Joseph Ejercito Estrada, President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo, Senate President Vicente Soto III, and the honorable members of the Philippine Senate, House Speaker Lord Alan J. Velasco, and the honorable members of the House of Representatives, Chief Justice Alexander Gesmundo, and the honorable justices of the Supreme Court, of course, First Lady Lisa Araneta, and my children, Alexander, Sandro, Simon, and Vincent. I cannot proceed without a special greeting, of course, to the former First Lady Imelda Romualdez Marcos. Other distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, my friends, ang aking minamahal na mga kababayan, magandang tanghali po sa inyong lahat. This is a historic moment for us all. I feel it deep within me. You, the people, have spoken, and it is resounding. When my call for unity started to resonate with you, it did so because it echoed your yearnings, mirrored your sentiments, and expressed your hopes for family, for country, and for a better future. That is why it reverberated and amplified as it did, to deliver the biggest electoral mandate in the history of Philippine democracy. By your vote, you rejected the politics of division. I offended none of my rivals in this campaign. I listened instead to what they were saying. And I saw little incompatibility with my own ideas about jobs, fair wages, personal safety, and national strength, and ending want in a land of plenty. I believe that if we but focus on the work at hand and the work that will come to hand, we will go very far under my watch. You believe that too. At pinakinggan ko ang tinig ninyo na ang sinisigaw ay pagkakaisa, pagkakaisa, pagkakaisa. We will go farther together than against each other. Pushing forward, not putting each other back, out of fear, out of a misplaced sense of weakness. But we are the furthest from weak. The Filipino diaspora flourishes even in the most inhospitable climes, where they are valued for their quality. The changes we seek will benefit all and will shortchange no one. I was not the instrument of change. You were that. You made it happen. I am now. You picked me to be your servant, to enable changes to benefit all. I fully understand the gravity of the responsibility that you put on my shoulders. I do not take it lightly, but I am ready for the task. I will need your help. I want to rely on it. But rest assured, I do not predicate success on the wide cooperation that's needed. I will get it done. I once knew a man who saw what little had been achieved since independence in a land of people with the greatest potential for achievement. And yet, they were poor. But he got it done. Sometimes with immediate support, sometimes without. So will it be with his son. You will get no excuses from me. I am here not to talk about the past. I am here to tell you about our future. A future of sufficiency, even plenty, of readily available ways and means to get done what needs doing. By you, by me. We do not look back, but ahead. Up the road that we must take to a place better than the one we lost in the pandemic. Gains made and lost, opportunities missed, well-laid plans superseded by the pandemic. Indeed, ours was the fastest growing economy in ASEAN by ways now outdated. We shall be again by radical change in the way the world must now work to recover what we have lost in that fire and move on from there. With prospects of the spread of the war abroad, of which we are totally blameless. We seek friendship with all. But our countries like ours will bear the brunt of it. And if the great powers draw the wrong lessons from the ongoing tragedy in Ukraine, the same dark prospect of conflict will spread to our part of the world. Yet, there is more out there. Like going forward by new ways of doing that the pandemic forces to adopt. A stronger resilience, quicker adaptability. They are our best prevention. They are our best protection. Quiet reflection in a rough and tumble campaign of a breadth and intensity never experienced revealed some of them. Such as a willingness to listen despite the noise. The hesitation to quarrel over differences and to never ever give up hope of reconciliation. These gave me the peace to ponder deeper. There are hints in the road not taken that could get us out of here quicker to something better,
something less fragile. There is also what you, the people, did to cope. But this time empowered by new techniques and more resources. You got by getting something needed with a massive government help. And for this, I thank my predecessor for the courage of his hard decisions. But there is a way to put more means and choices in your hands. I trust the Philippines. Imagine how much more you'd achieve if government backstops instead of dictating your decisions. Always there to pick you up when you fall. Giving what you need to get past a problem. Imagine if it invested in your self-empowerment to bring it closer to taking on whatever challenges come. Imagine a country that, in almost every sense, is you. Now imagine what you and government can achieve together. We did it in the pandemic. We will do it again. But again, I will not predicate my promise to you on your cooperation. You have your own lives to live, your work to do, and therefore I will help. Government will get as much done alone without requiring more from you. That is what government and public officials are for. No excuses. Just deliver. It was like that once upon a time. I did not talk much in this campaign. I did not bother to think of rebutting my rivals. Instead, I searched for promising approaches better than the usual solutions. I listened to you. I did not lecture you who has the biggest stake in our success. And the forthcoming State of the Nation will tell you exactly how we shall get this done. In this fresh chapter of our history, I extend my hand to all Filipinos. Come, let us put our shoulders to the wheel and give that wheel a faster turn to repair and to rebuild and to address challenges in new ways to provide what all Filipinos need, to be all that we can. We are here to repair a house divided, to make it whole, and to stand strong again in the Bayanihan way, expressive of our nature as Filipinos. We shall seek not scorn dialogue, listen respectfully to contrary views, be open to suggestions coming from hard thinking and unsparing judgment, but always from us Filipinos. We can trust no one else when it comes to what is best for us. Past history has often proven that. Solutions from outside divided us. None deepened our understanding. They were always at our expense. Never forget, we are Filipinos. One nation, one republic, indivisible. We resisted and never failed to defeat foreign attempts to break up our country in my father's watch. His strongest critics have conceded that. So let us all be part of the solution that we choose. In that lies the power to get it done. Always be open to differing views, but ever united in our chosen goal. Never hesitating to change it, should it prove wanting. That is how agile, resilient republics are made. Our future we decide today. Yesterday cannot make that decision anymore, nor can tomorrow delay it. The sooner we start, the surer and quicker the prospect of achieving our future. These are troubling times. What's happening to others can happen to us, but it will not. We see what's happening. We are witness to how it is being stopped, and we have seen the glory that crowns struggle against all odds. Giving up is not an option. We've been through times of bitter division, but united, We came through to this when it shall begin again, but better. The campaigns I've run have taken me here where I stand today. I listened to you, and this is what I have heard. We all want peace in our land. You and your children want a good chance at a better life in a safer, more prosperous country. All that is within reach of a hard-working, warm and giving race. Your dreams are mine. Pangarap nyo ay pangarap ko. How can we make them come true? How can we do it together? But I will take it as far as anyone with the same faith and commitment can, as if it depended entirely on themselves. Sa pangarap na maging mapayapa ang ating bansa, ang pangarap nyo ay pangarap ko. Sa pangarap na maging maunlad ang ating bansa, ang pangarap nyo ay pangarap ko. At sa pangarap na maging mas masinan ang kinabukasan natin at ng ating mga anak, ang pangarap nyo ay pangarap ko. We are presently drawing up a comprehensive, all-inclusive plan for economic transformation. We will build back better by doing things in the light of the experiences that we have had, both good and bad. It doesn't matter. No looking back in anger or nostalgia. In the road ahead, the immediate months will be rough, but I will walk that road with you. The pandemic ravaged bigger economies than ours. The virus is not the only thing to blame. What had been well built was torn down. We will build it back better. The role of agriculture cries for the urgent attention that its neglect and misdirection now demands. Food self-sufficiency has been the key promise of every administration. None but one delivered. There were inherent defects in the old ways and in recent ways too. The trade policy of competitive advantage made the case that when it comes to food sufficiency, a country should not produce, but import what other countries make more of and sell cheapest. Then came Ukraine. The most vulnerable when it comes to food are the countries furthest away from the conflict, those bearing no blame for provoking it. Yet they face the biggest risk of starvation. If financial aid is poured into them, though it never is, there is nothing to buy. Food is not just a trade commodity. Without it, people weaken and die. Societies come apart. It is more than a livelihood. It is an existential imperative and a moral one. An agriculture damaged and diminished by unfair competition will have a harder time, or will have no prospects at all of recovery. Food sufficiency must get the preferential treatment the richest free trade countries always gave the agricultural sectors. Their policy boils down to don't do as we do. Do what we tell you to. I'm giving that policy the most serious thought if it doesn't change or make more allowances for emergencies with long-term effects. There is a parallel problem in our energy supply. Sufficient fossil fuel-free technology for whole economies has yet to be invented. And it is not seriously tried by rich countries. Again, consider the response of the richest countries to the war in Ukraine. But surely, a free world awash with oil can assure supplies. Or we will find a way. We are not far from oil and gas reserves that have already been developed. What we teach in our schools, the materials used must be rethought. I'm not talking about history. I'm talking about the basics, the sciences, sharpening theoretical aptitude and imparting vocational skills, such as in the German example, alongside the national language, with equal emphasis and facility in a global language, which we had and lost. Let us give OFWs all the advantages we can for them to survive and to thrive. Our teachers from elementary up are heroes fighting ignorance with poor paper weapons. We are condemning the future of our race to menial occupations abroad. Then they are exploited by traffickers. Once we had an education system that prepared coming generations for more and better jobs. There is hope for a comeback. Vice President and soon-to-be Secretary of Education, Sara Duterte Carpio, will fit that mission to a T. We won't be caught unprepared, under-equipped, and understaffed to fight the next pandemic. To start with, we never got over the pandemic of poor, if any, free public health. The last major upgrade of a public health system, exemplified by the resources poured into PGH, predates the current shambles by 3 generations. Our nurses are the best in the world. They acquitted themselves with the highest distinction abroad, having suffered even the highest casualties. With the same exemplary dedication at home, they just got by. They are out there because we cannot pay them for the same risk and workload that we have back here. There will be changes starting tomorrow. I am confident because I have an uplift in my cabinet. There were shortcomings in the COVID response. We will fix them. Out in the open. No more secrets in public health. Remember, I speak from experience. I was among the first to get COVID. It was not a walk in the park. My father built more and better roads, produced more rice than all administrations before his. President Rodrigo Roa Duterte built more and better than all the administrations succeeding my father's. Much has been built, and so well, that the economic dogma of dispersing industry to develop the least likely places has been upturned. Development was brought to them. Investors are now setting up industries along the promising routes built. And yet, the potential of this country is not exhausted. Following these giant steps, we will continue to build. I will complete on schedule the projects that have been started. I'm not interested in taking credit. I want to build on success that's already happening. We will be presenting the public with a comprehensive infrastructure plan. 6 years could be just about enough time. No part of our country will be neglected. Progress will be made wherever there are Filipinos, so no investment is wasted. The recovery of Philippine tourism with its emphasis on accessing nature's beauty, I am sure will exceed expectations. And bigger is not always better, but there's something to be said for economies of scale. And yet the country invites investments in fast rising industries with quick returns and inflicts irreparable damage for future generations. We have yet to see large-scale practical solutions to pollution, though some are beginning to emerge. But there are tried and proven new ways of mitigation. Blades have been turning over the dunes of Ilocos Norte, harnessing a power all around, but unseen, long before this day. I built them. The rich world talks a great deal, but does a lot less about it than those with much less, but who suffer more death and destruction from climate change and lack of adaptation. We will look to our partners and friends to help the Philippines, who, despite having a very small carbon footprint, is at the highest risk. First, spare victims, then help them recover, and move on to lessen the harmful impact of climate change. We too have our part to play. We are the third biggest plastics polluter in the world, but we won't shirk from that responsibility. We will clean up. You will not be disappointed, so do not be afraid. With every difficult decision that I must make, I will keep foremost in my heart and in my mind the depth of gratitude I owe you for the honor and responsibility that you have conferred on me. Whatever is in a person to make changes for the better of others, I lay before you now in my commitment. I will try to spare you. You have your other responsibilities to carry. But I will not spare myself from shedding the last bead of sweat or giving the last ounce of courage and sacrifice. And if you ask me why I am so confident of the future, I will answer you simply that I have 110 million reasons to start with. Such is my faith in the Filipino. Believe, have hope. The sun also rises like it did today and as it will tomorrow. And as surely as that, we will achieve the country all Filipinos deserve. God bless the Philippines. God bless our work. Maraming salamat po sa inyong lahat. Mabuhay ang Pilipinas. Magandang tanghali po.
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, the President of the Republic of the Philippines, President Ferdinand Romualdez Marcos Jr.
We will now have a photo opportunity with President Ferdinand Romualdez Marcos Jr. May we invite the first family on stage. First Lady Araneta Marcos, Ferdinand Alexander Sandro Marcos, Joseph Simon Marcos, and William Vincent Marcos.
May we now request Vice President Sara Duterte to join the first family.
No striking red or green colors.
Chief Justice Alexander G. Jacinto and Senate President Vicente Soto III to join the first family.
More than 20 minutes, a little over 20 minutes, ang kanyang inaugural address. At patuloy po ang activities dyan sa National Museum. Ito na yung parte ng photo op lang muna. But after this, ay didiretso na si Pangulong Bongbong Marcos muli sa Malacanang. Kasama pa rin natin si Dr. Resos Doc, are you still there?
Yes, nandito pa ako.
Ay, ito. Doc, what can you say about yung naging programa po, seremonya dito po sa National Museum? Talaga nga po bang hindi lumihis sa tradisyon?
So far, maganda yung nakita natin na flow. Kasi nasunod po, no, nakita nyo kanina yung pagkanta ng national anthem sa pagdating po sa National Museum. At yung ating pong pinapahalagahan na dapat ipasailalim natin sa kapangyarihan ng Diyos ang very solemn na presidential inauguration na ito sa pamamagitan po ng panalangin. Nagkaroon tayo ng interfaith prayer po, no, na iba't ibang segment ng lipunan natin at iba't ibang mga pananampalataya ang nanalangin. At gayon din naman po yung ating pong military civic parade kasi ito po'y napakaganda. Talagang it reminds us also of the inauguration of President Marcos before, no, 1965, 1969. Yun nga pong pagparada po ng tinatawag nating military civic parade po. Parang doon natin makikita yung mga tao na bibigyan po ng emphasis ngayon ng ating Pangulo. No? Siya na po ang Pangulo ng Republika ng Pilipinas ngayon, Pangulong Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. po. Nakita natin yung pagparada po dito ng Sandatahang Lakas. So definitely yung programa rin ng kanyang tatay ay ipagpapatuloy niya palakasin po ang Armed Forces of the Philippines. Nagparada po ang Philippine National Police. Isa rin po yan na ginawa ng kanyang ama noong si Pangulong Marcos po ay presidente pa natin, ang pagpapatatag po sa Philippine Constabulary Integrated National Police na ngayon po ay PNP na. At yung Coast Guard po, sapagkat tayo po ay mahigit 7,000 isla po, no? Kaya mahalaga na patatagin po ang Philippine Coast Guard. At gayon din naman po yung ating Air Force. Napaghulihan na po tayo dito po sa Southeast Asia. Kaya ito, nakita natin yung mga nagiging prioridad niya. Tapos po, doon po sa civic groups, doon nyo po ma-analyze na yung priority ng mga tao po na kanya pong bibigyan ngayon ng magandang programa, pag-unlad. Nakita natin yung mga medical frontliners kung napansin nyo po. So, nakikita natin na priority niya po pagsugpo po sa COVID-19 at ang pagbibigay po ng mga benepisyo para sa mga medical frontliners. Yung atletang Pinoy, kasama din po, ako po'y natutuwa, no, dahil ito yung aspeto ng lipunan natin na hindi natin po nabibigyan ng halaga. Bagaman nagbibigay ng karangan natin, ang mga atletang Pinoy, yung pong mga manggagawang Pilipino, napakahalaga po ng labor sector na makita natin dun sa military civic parade, isa rin sa